The topic of my training today is mastering the art of focus. Mastering the art of focus. Some few years ago, I was privileged to be in a training with Mr. Brian Tracy, and he talked about a story, and he said there was a party, it was a function, and there were three gentlemen standing together. One was then the richest man in the world, Mr. Bill Gates. The second person was the third richest man in the world as at then, Mr. Warren Buffett, and Mr. Bill Gates' father. So the three gentlemen were standing, and having a glass of champagne. And then this young boy walked up to the three of them and asked them, he said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, what would you say is the most important requirement for success?" And, coincidentally, the three of them mentioned this word, focus. And in the course of my journey, I have also read in some books that really says that, with focus, you can do anything, and without focus, you can do nothing. So that becomes a singular, most important thing, right, to actually build the foundation of success. My goal is to share with you how anyone can actually master the art of focus. Now, so what is focus? Now, focus is the state of having or producing a clear visual definition. The watchword there is a clear visual. It is very important to clearly know exactly what you want to do, where you want to go, how you want to do anything. The clearer it is, the easier it's going to be for you to actually achieve it. You see, it also is the center of interest or activity. You see, what you focus on will eventually take hold of your time and your activities. Now, focus is actually a skill, and it's a skill that is learnable. Someone says that just like babies are not born with focus, but only grow up to learn how to focus, an adult can also learn it. Actually, for all skills, like I said, are learnable, and focus is not an exception at all. Now, I need to ask you a question, and it's a question that you need to really answer it honestly. And it's just for you. What are you focused on? Yes, what are you focused on? Are you focused on the window, or are you focused on the mirror? It's a question you need to ask yourself, because that determines exactly what is going right or going wrong in the activities that you do. You see, when you focus on the window, it's said that you're focused on other people. And when you are focused on yourself, when you're focused on the mirror, you're actually focused on yourself. Yes, there are people who are focused on other people, and there are people who are focused on themselves. And there's a difference, a clear difference in their results. You see, when you're focused on other people, what you get is, I say, lies, deceits. All right. You see, when you're focused on other people, you'll be like, oh, because Mr. Brian Louis is a fantastic speaker, he's a wonderful presenter, and I am not, then I'm going to find it difficult to build my email business. You're going to say, I don't have the kind of clout and experience that Mr. Pastor Nav Trinidad has, and for that reason, I will not be able to succeed in this business. You're going to be telling yourself that I cannot attract the kind of people that Mrs. Patience Mad Lion will attract. And for that reason, I will not be able to succeed here at Emery. And those lies will lead to what is called fear. And that will be the beginning of failure. But when you are focused on yourself, what you get is the truth, because you can only tell yourself the truth. And when you continually tell yourself the truth, I know I can do it. I know that if I leverage on the presentations and listen more to Mr. Brian Louis, maybe I could become a good presenter. Maybe I could actually talk about the business. Maybe if I spend more time going to the iGrowth University, maybe I will get more information that will attract the kind of people that will move my business forward. And what that will lead to is what is called belief. Ladies and gentlemen, once you have the belief, you can achieve anything. You see, what you focus on will create the kind of ideas that will come to you. Your ideas will definitely lead to the kind of attitude that you would have. It will form your attitude. And your attitude will have a direct proportion to your actions. And your actions will lead to your results. So it is very important to ask yourself, are you focused on the right thing? If you're focused on other people, then you are on your way to failure. But if you focus on yourself, then you would think about developing yourself to be who you are supposed to truly be. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, you can determine what you focus on. Like I said, it's an art and it's something that you can master. It is a skill that anyone can learn, just like babies are not born with focus, but learn how to do it. Now, I'm going to go through just 3 factors that can help you focus rightly. Just 3 factors. There are several, but these 3, in the course of my journey, I've been told that these 3 stand out and could actually give anybody the right result. The first one is your why. What is your why? You need to know what your why is. The second one is goals. It is obvious, and I think several trainings we've had on this platform, that we've got to know that to succeed, you need to think like the successful people. And they say only those that write out their goals actually truly succeed. And then the third one here I call mentorship is the fast track to getting anything done. All right, you need to take mentorship. Now let's look at the why. Now, to identify your why, which is one of the most important things, you need to clearly know what your passion is. You also need to know what your ability is. There's a clear difference between your ability and your passion. A lot of people are caught in between both. They have a passion for something, but they actually have the ability in something else. And then there's something called your interest. All right. Now, you must create a clear balance out of these 3. And within these 3, you will be able to identify what your why is. That's if you haven't at all. Now, for goal setting, you need to write it down. You see, a goal is halfway done once it's written down. That's the first thing. The next thing is that you need to meditate on it. All right, there's a part that your mental ability has to play in seeing your goals come to fruition. And then finally, you need to act on it. All right, that is the icing on the cake. Now, you need to identify a mentor. It is very important to go through this, as this could be your fast track to getting anything done. You also have to have a relationship with your mentor, all right, with whatever you're taking mentorship from. There are people who take mentorship from books and from videos, right? And for some people, it's an individual. Whatever it is, you must have a relationship. If it's the books, you must be comfortable actually reading the books. You must be comfortable watching the videos. You must be comfortable. And then you must commit to the mentorship. It is very important that you commit to the mentorship. Now, let me first of all go back to the why. Now, how do you find your why? I've said that it's one of the most important things. I said you need to balance between your passion, your interest, and your ability. You need to passion it. Now I'm going to just go through 5 factors that could help you find your why. All right, it did help me, and I've gotten to know that it has helped some other people also. So, number 1, just before I go into that, all right, Thomas Opong said that nothing gives a person inner wholeness and peace like a distinct understanding of where they are going to. The moment you have a clear vision of exactly where you are going to, then absolutely nothing can stop you. You will be able to identify whatever is a distraction because you have a clear understanding of what the destination. So number 1, you need to identify, the things you can do to make other people's life better. Now, I don't have anybody I can use an example for this, but I'm going to use myself as one. I like I've said at the beginning of this presentation, I'm very privileged to be here, and everything I share with you, I learned it from someone also. I learned it from a book, I learned it from a video, I learned it from a quote, I learned it from somewhere. And it's just a privilege to share with all of you here. So using myself as an example is just the person that I understand the most. I wish I could use you. All right, so identify the things that you can do to make other people's life better. Very recently, I started doing online webinars because I found out that it was a way that I could impact other people's lives. It had to do with my why. My why as an individual on the face of the earth, my why as an individual as an entrepreneur, my why as a as someone in the direct selling industry, my why even being an American. Number 2, you need to think back to the activities you did that made you forget about the passage of time. All right. Some people know that when I choose to speak about anything that could impact anybody's life, I could do it all day without even thinking of eating. All right. I've gotten to understand the fact that sometimes I even do not know how time truly passed. Number 3, recall what you like to do when you were a kid. I remember when I was a kid, I was very used to having a lot of people, gather people together and put up a topic for discussion. I was always doing that. And today it has also led to my why. Number 4, think about the things that you are willing to do, sometimes for free, even if you look like a fool. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be one of the most, in fact, the most important thing that will help you to identify that you have truly found your why. Being completely selfless in doing something without thinking about yourself. And number 5, find what you like to learn and what you would like to teach others. You see, I remember some few months ago, all right, or years before now, for me to do a presentation like this, I would have to look for someone to help me to actually design my slides. All right. But you see, because this had to do with my why, I had to develop the skill. Haven't had the opportunity of learning from Mr. Brian Louis. And then I had to find a way. I'm already excited teaching other people exactly how to do that. Now, these are 5 of, some of those things that could help you find your why. But with these 5, I am certain. So the first thing is this: you need to identify your life goals or goal, depending on how many, and put a time to when you want to achieve it. Then the first one in this word for, and exactly how you want to achieve it and when. The second is actually to create smaller goals that can lead you to achieving that your main goal, starting with the most difficult one. I remember a book that I read by Mr. Brian Tracy also. It's called Eat That Frog. It's it has to do with you setting your goals and picking the most difficult one first. That's why I say eat that frog. That if you wake up in the morning and what you first of all do is to swallow a frog, then you know that nothing else can be worse than that for the whole day. All right. Then finally, step 3, you need to actually break each goal into smaller tasks with short durations. That means daily, weekly, or monthly. All right. You break them into smaller tasks. Someone says that by the yard is hard, but inch by inch, anything is a cinch. All right. Now, let me expand on these 3 steps again. Now, step 1, this is usually a long-term achievement. What you want to become, where you want to be, or what you want to have, etc. I want to become a professor of medicine. All right. That's like a life goal. I want to be the president of my country. I want to, whatever the goal is, it's a long-term thing. All right. Or what you want to do, it's to set exactly where you want to be, at what point, and at what time. Now, the second step, which is the smaller goals, this is usually a medium-term achievement. It's always better to start with the most difficult one. Why? Because it helps you with the will to continue, knowing that others are easier. Yes, and that's quite beautiful, because the moment you are able to achieve that, then you are on your way to actualizing your entire goals. Now, step 3, this is usually a short-term achievement. It makes it easier for you to achieve your goals by giving you short-time fulfillment. Yes, it also helps you to evaluate yourself. Yes, I remember I was listening to a speaker once, and he was talking about attending a military graduation where you had a general of the military giving a speech. And in that speech, he was talking about why they put the young military guys through a particular kind of task every morning. That task was for them to make their bed as soon as they wake up, having the bed sheets so tight that if you drop a coin on it, the coin has to bounce. It's called the bounce test. The moment the coin is thrown on it and it does not bounce, they throw everything up and ask you to make the bed again. It was a task that they were asking them to do first thing in the morning to set them up for a day of achieving task. And what actually happens is that the moment you get a task done, especially first thing in the morning, there's a way that you feel happy. Someone says that there's something that is released. It's called endorphin, and it's called a happy drug. It's something that just makes you happy that, oh, I've done this, so I'm up for the next one. So this is why it's actually very important to create a lifestyle of doing small tasks to achieve a goal towards your main goal. Now, in goal setting, there's something called SMART, creating a SMART goal. All right. And it's an acronym for 5 major things you need to look out for when you are setting the goals. Specific. Your goals must be specific. It must be measurable. It must be attainable. It must be relevant. And it must be time bound. It must be specific. It must be measurable. It must be attainable. It must be relevant. And it must be time bound. Now, the third factor, I talked about mentorship being the third and final factor. Now, there are 3 things you need to consider when you decide to choose a mentor. The first is values. You see, your values must align with the with the person you are looking towards as a potential mentor. You see, when you have the same values, it will lead to a better relationship. All right. It must be someone whose values align with us. You see, once you have that kind of relationship, you will learn more from someone whose value mirrors your own. So with this, it will foster what is called respect, mutual respect between both of you. Number 2, communication. Now, you see, the potential mentor that you're looking at must not only be successful, but must be able to effectively convey what was done to get to exactly where he or she is. All right, there's several people who have actually created some form of success, but they cannot particularly duplicate it. You don't just go after such a person because of the result. It must also be someone who could share with you and share with you in a way that you can be able to communicate with you in a manner that is easy for you to understand. The moment it's not easy for you to understand, then there will be friction, because it's going to be like he or she feels like it's an easy thing and you are thinking it's difficult. And for that reason, there will be a conflict. When you have this, you have what is called love, because it takes love to actually be patient to teach. Only 3. Please note that there are several more, but I have only narrowed it because of time for only 3. Willingness. Yes. You see, this person must be willing to help. You see, just because someone has found success does not mean they will, be, ready to share with you. It is true. In fact, there are several people who become successful and then develop selfishness. Yes, they want to be the only successful person. Such person will not be able to mentor another person, because a mentor must be willing to actually pour out his or her all. This will actually foster care. Now, if you look at these 3 words in the white circles, respect, love, and care happens to be in our core values here at Emery. And this is where I ask everyone to actually concentrate on, to actually, in this your Emery business, everything is embedded within our core values. Yes, Emery's core values here, the first one that, like we all know as Emerians, is that sharing is rewarding. It is more blessed to give than to receive. It is very important to marry all this with your focus. Success breeds success, helping others to succeed. And then filial piety, which stands for respect, love, and caring. All right. I always take my inspiration from here ever since I got here at Emery. Now, also in your Emery business, what do you really focus on? Yes, there are the boards. There's a lot of focus on the boards when you come into Emery. There are 3 main boards. Fine. You have the pre-associate for those who are coming with the classic package, but they are obviously going to get onto the associate board. The associate board is an opportunity for you to earn as you learn. All right. You are just obviously coming into Emery. There will always be something to learn, irrespective from where you were coming from. I have spent more time here at Emery on the associate board, and most of what I know about the business was actually what I learned during my stay on the associate board. You also understand your earnings, what you are focused on also there. On the executive board, you want to take action. What type of action? You want to take leadership action. All right. You want to help other people to actualize their goals. You want to take responsibility. And then on the manager's board, you want to create duplication. You want to build other leaders, people who have been able to grow with you and have also been able to get some form of results mentoring other people. Also, your focus will also want to be on your earnings. All right. It is clear to understand that these are the guaranteed earnings here at Emery. All right. On the 3 boards. All right. $60,400 on the manager's board, $6,040 on the executive board, and $604 on the associate board. Now, we call it the guaranteed income generating system. All right. That's the reward. But that's just the reward for one phase of this whole project. You see, the board breaking stage, where you duplicate by an average of 3 in at least 3 levels. To actualize this is just the first phase. It's the tip of the iceberg. Enjoying 67,000 plus US dollars at that level is just attractive enough to keep you going. But it's just the foundation. Yes, this is a stage where you lay your foundation. Email is actually bigger than that. I'm trying to expand this so that if you can actually bring the desired change into what you focus on. There are a lot of people whose focus are narrowed only on this level completely. Now, there's a second level, the director's level, where you are open to a daily group sales of between 1 to about 3%. Now, this is vision. This is where you build your roots, because it is the roots that will eventually grow into this big tree that will provide these fruits that will feed you, your family, and generations to come. Then you have the ambassadorial stage, where you have an opportunity to earn up to 6% of the group sales within the organization that you're building. The organization you laid a foundation for at the broad-breaking stage, where you were able to learn, where you were able to act and take leadership, and where you really created true duplication. This is a stage where we say you leave your legacy. Yes, being in that penthouse in Malaysia, all right, with several other multi-millionaires here at Emery that will continually make money even when they don't get off their bed. That's how big this is. And that's what you should be focused on. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to share, and I look forward to your success here at Emery. I hope this was informative and educative as well. And as we say here at Emery, stay happy and stay simple.